For the Muslim Ummah, I hope you won't forget the reason and lessons for the season. Tonight on News Extra is an array of stories that range from the religious to culture and even the mystic. Eid al-Kabir just ended, but the feeling is still with us, so we have stories relating to the celebration. I'm sure you know where the president is. Well, we will tell you what he has been up to. Also tonight, there are stories on development, security, politics, health, business, agriculture, and more. And also tonight, we'll tell you about the antiques Ibrahim El-Zaki is said to be playing in India, where he is for medical attention. You know how we do it here. We give you the news with an extra touch. So as usual, sit back and enjoy the stories. Like I always say, the taste of the pudding is in the eating. I am Fatima Umar Buba, and this is News Extra. Now, we begin. The federal government says the nation's march to greatness is just a matter of time, as it is keeping with the implementation of the next level agenda. President Muhammadu Buhari stated this while inaugurating one of the road projects executed under the restoration agenda of Masari administration in Katsina State. State House correspondent Adamu Sambu completes the report.
The 32-kilometer Shinkafi Yandaki Gafia Abdallawa Dankaba Road, inaugurated by the president, was executed at 3.3 billion naira. It traverses 15 communities in Katsina and Kaita local government areas of the state, enhancing intercommunal relations and livelihoods of the people. President Buhari said the provision of critical infrastructure, especially roads, as essential arteries for development is not only a commendable strategy, but in line with the change philosophy of his administration.
Apart from easy movement of farm produce to and from markets, the social life of all the communities served by such roads would undoubtedly improve for the better. Well done, Katsina State. I look forward to hearing, sharing news in the not too distant future that these roads have become a robust catalyst for the rapid socio-economic transformation of the affected rural communities. May I urge you not to relent in ensuring that rural communities in need of this kind of infrastructural development are given the attention they deserve.
President Buhari used the opportunity to thank the people of Katsina for their massive support to the governing APC during the last general elections. Governor Aminu Bello Masari had told the president that since coming to power, his administration has completed 13 inherited road projects, constructed 46 new ones, rehabilitated 47 others, while 44 are at various stages of completion, comprising one feeder road in each of the 34 local government areas of the state.
The state has been very much mindful of the need for infrastructural development across the nooks and crannies of the state, particularly roads, hence its modest performance in the sector.
More roads projects constructed by the Masari administration in fulfillment of pre-election promises are built for inauguration in the coming days. From Katsina, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari is urging Nigerians, especially victims of the various acts of criminality in the country, to exercise patience and have more faith in his administration's genuine effort at bringing to an end the worrisome situation. This was during a visit to Batsari in Katsina State to meet with those adversely affected by what he called the senseless killings, maiming and destruction of property by armed bandits in the area. Again, Adamu Sambo has the report.
It was an emotional sight to behold as President Muhammadu Buhari empathized with the victims, relations and people of Batsari and 7 other frontline local government areas afflicted by armed banditry and other acts of criminality. He described as saddening that the consequences of such actions not only brought untold hardship but affected the socio-economic life of the people. The protection of lives and property, the president emphasized, is prime to the essence of government, and therefore his administration will not shirk its responsibility in securing Nigeria and Nigerians.
Na tabbatar muku muna kwana muna tashi da bakin ciki na ta'addanci da cin mutunci da 'yan ta'adda suke yi. Da yarda Allah za mu yi amfani da sojoji da 'yan sanda da sauran ma'aikatan gwamnati mu ga bayansu insha Allah.
President Buhari, however, enjoined the people to share all information about the bandits and other criminal elements in their areas with security operatives for hastened action. While acknowledging Katsina State government's effort at facilitating the operational capabilities of the security agencies posted to the area, the president directed NEMA to act fast and lend appropriate support to the victims in all the affected frontline local government areas. Governor Aminu Bello Masari confirmed massive deployment of security personnel and equipment to the state on the orders of the president. This, amongst other measures adopted, he said, are pointers to the seriousness with which the security concern is being addressed by the federal government.
The Katsina State government really appreciates the federal government concern over our deteriorating security situation. The recent deployment of additional security personnel and the equipment to this area has led to the drastic reduction in the frequency of the attacks. But there are still sporadic attacks with attendant kidnap and cattle rustling incidents.
This he attributed to the vastness of Ruga forest that provides cover for the criminal elements. On his part, the Emir of Katsina, Abdulmumin Kabir Usman, advised the people against reprisal attacks, which he said could lead to anarchy, and called for more patience and tolerance as security agencies tackle those against the progress of the state and indeed the nation. From Katsina, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
In the meantime, the Joint Security Panel to investigate circumstances surrounding killings of 3 police officers and a civilian by soldiers in Ibbi local government area of Taraba State is in the state to commence investigation. The 7-man panel, headed by Rear Admiral I.T. Olaiya, who declined to speak to newsmen, paid a visit to the state governor, Darius Ishaku, where it held a closed-door meeting with the governor. The joint panel comprises of representatives of the Army, Navy, Air Force, Police, and the Department of State Security, DSS, as well as Defense Intelligence Agency. A similar committee constituted by the Inspector General of Police had earlier visited the state and scene of the incident. It could be recalled that the National Security Council, presided by President Muhammadu Buhari, had directed for full investigation into the matter. Meanwhile, Nigerians are acclaimed to be very religious, but it appears exemplifying what they profess is another ballgame altogether. This, guests on NTA's Tuesday Live say, is the reason corruption and other social vices that hamper the unity and progress of the country persist. Joseph Jensen reports.
Nigeria is widely known as one of the most religious nations in the world, but the irony, many say, remains how the same religion has over the years become the bane of Nigeria's unity. Guests on Tuesday Live, while relating the lessons of Eid al-Kabir to peace building, highlighted politicization of religion, religious bigotry, and non-adherence to tenets of their faiths as some of the causes of religious conflicts in the country.
The problem of the worship places is for these places to be able to purge out who? Accidental pastors, accidental imams, freelance pastors, and so on and so forth, because it is a serious spiritual and moral business.
Today, there is no reward for doing good in this country. How many religious leaders are being honored in this nation because of their commitment or their dedication to this nation?
Others suggested for the creation of a Federal Ministry of Religious Affairs to coordinate religious and faith-based organizations.
If Nigeria is such a religious country, 80% religious people, why is it difficult for the federal government, state governments to have Ministry of Religious Affairs?
There cannot be peace without justice. for peace building, let us promote reconciliation.
I want the government itself to invite the religious leaders officially. Please talk to these young men and women. Tell them what God says on how to behave. The religious leader himself, he should know that whatever he is doing, he is going to be accountable.
While the celebration of Salah eases out the lessons and essence of the season, the guests noted hopefully will keep Muslims, Christians and indeed Nigerians united in spite of the diversity. Joseph Johnson, NTA News.
Joseph, unity is key. And you know, celebrations in Nigeria, be they religious or traditional, have rippling effects on other aspects of life. Daba is one of them. And from Ilorin, we hear that due to the economic and social benefits of Daba celebrations, stakeholders have joined their voices to call for its institutionalization, I beg your pardon, to attract domestic and foreign investment. Abdul Wahid Bibiri tells us more.
The annual Durbar celebration is a gathering of sons and daughters of Ilorin, home and abroad, who converge on the palace of the Emir of Ilorin to fraternize and chart a new course for the development of their community. The 2019 edition, which is the second in series, is unique in terms of style, organization, artistry display, and the attendance. The Emir of Ilorin, Alhaji Ibrahim Sulu Gambari, led about 700 gaily dressed horses through major streets of Ilorin, the state capital, amid cheers and royal blessings. Dignitaries acknowledge that the culture, norms and values of Ilorin people is gradually being rekindled.
It showcases our cultural heritage. It's a gathering, a melting pot. Very fantastic and colorful.
Everything is being revived back gradually.
It's a mark of communalism and sense of responsibility.
Almighty Allah give us good health so that we can be alive for the next Durbar that will be coming up.
Members of the State Council for Art and Culture also added glitz and glamour to the celebration.
Apart from promoting peace and unity among the people, the Durbar celebration also has a spiral economic benefit if properly harnessed. In Ilorin, Abdul Wahid Bibiri, NTA News.
And President Alpha Condé of Guinea was among prominent individuals who witnessed the traditional Hawa Nasarawa led by Emir of Kano, Mohammed Sanusi II, to the government house. It is a tradition observed on the third day of Salah. Abdullahi Mustafa has the report.
Hawa Nasarawa is the third in the series of Durbar processions during Salah celebrations in Kano. It was first observed by late Emir Abbas, who ruled between 1903 and 1919. Emir Muhammad Sanusi II was during this year's outing received by Governor Abdullah Umar Ganduje and President Alpha Condé of the Republic of Guinea. Governor Ganduje, who thanked the Emir's contributions to the successful implementation of government policies and programs, expressed readiness to continue to work with the monarch in the implementation of free and compulsory education initiative of his administration. Part of it is strategies to address the menace of street begging and hawking among school-age children.
I'm sending a memo to the Northern States Governors Forum so that we have a common legislation in order to prevent the movement of Almajiri school-age children.
The Emir, while congratulating the governor on the successful and peaceful Salah celebration, assured him of Kano Emirates' continued support to government's programs and initiatives. Salah celebrations end in Kano on Thursday with the traditional Hawan Paniso by the Emir. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
We apologize for the humming sound in some parts of that report. And this next story is a mixture of tradition, security and celebration as a demonstration of the recent restoration of relative peace in Zamfara State. A Fulani cultural display was held in Gusau, the state capital, as part of activities to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir festival. Jamilu Ibrahim reports that this display particularly featured the popular Fulani custom, Sharu, which has been dormant in the state for quite a while. Jamilu tells us about it.
Sharu, which literally means flogging, is a very historic Fulani cultural festival that demonstrates the taste of endurance, bravery and manhood in a dramatic way. It is said to have existed since the emergence of Fulani as a people and is celebrated in Nigeria and some other West African countries, mostly during the Eid al-Kabir festival. The Fufula Fulani custom had, however, been dormant in Zamfara State for nearly 10 years as a result of the spate of insecurity that had bedeviled the state. With the recent restoration of relative peace in all parts of the state government flagged up the revival of the Sharu alongside other cultural display as part of activities to mark this year's Eid al-Kabir festivity. The event held at Trade Fair Complex Gusau was well attended by the Fulani and their Hausa counterparts from across the 14 local government areas of the state, including Governor Bello Muhammad and other top government officials who dressed in typical Fulani attires. The event is not only aimed at demonstrating the restoration of peace in Zamfara State, but also showcasing the rich cultural heritage of the Hausa Fulani.
This is another way of complete resolution between the Fulani and the Hausa communities.
This is the first time in the history of Zamfara this gathering is done. And what this gathering means is bringing the unity.
So we are hoping that with this type of coming together, I think peace will also continue to prevail in the state.
Peace has come to Zamfara State and it will continue to reign.
Governor Bello Muhammad charged all stakeholders to remain supportive of the peace initiative, stressing that his administration is committed to ensuring the sustenance of the faith. Similar event is built to hold at the headquarters of each of the 14 local government areas of the state in Gusau. Jamilu Ibrahim, NTA News.
I can imagine that stick on me. You know, Nigeria is so blessed with a very rich culture. Now, from the religious to the traditional business activities were today put on hold in Akure, the Ondo state capital, as all markets, shops and other commercial activities shut down for the celebration of an annual festival known as Aherebe. Toyin Batire reports that the shutdown is on the instruction of the paramount ruler and DG of Akure, Oba Ogunlade Aladelusi, as the day is regarded as a day of blessings for the entire land. Toyin, please fill us in on this.
This is the popular Oba Deshida Road in Akure. It is also referred to as the Heart of Akure, where majority of business activities usually take place with this usual bustling. But this morning it is very different as markets, shops and stores are closed due to the annual Aherebe festival.
Closure of markets, shops and stores in Akure and its environs characterize the festival, and anyone who flouts the order will have his or her goods confiscated in line with the tradition. Also, the sharing of beans balls known as Akara Aherebe among the monarch, chiefs and indigenes of Akure makes the festival unique. According to history, before the celebration, some traditionalists would dance around the town for 7 days, while some rites will be performed on the actual day, choosing for the festival or to proclaim peace and progress on the land.
The Aherebe festival originated from Obaile. I was a prince from Obaile that became an Oba in Akure here. By the time we wanted to install the Oba, part of the conditions that he gave to Akure then was that this Aherebe festival must be celebrated.
It's a one-day vacation for the market people. It's a day for the Yalojas, especially the Rilu Yaloja of Akure Kingdom. We go with all our chiefs to pray for the improvement of the market and for more blessings to come into the market.
Some traders in Akure expressed their minds on the festival.
The law of the land said there's no market today, so we have to close our shop.
Although it's affect our sales, because we know that it's every year traditional, there's nothing we can do on it.
However, the Aeregbe festival does not restrict vehicular and human movement. In Akure, Toyin Batire, NT News.
And in a few days' time, the annual Osun Osogbo festival will come alive again. We're told that the sacred grove where the festival is held continues to provide succor to beneficiaries of its mystic powers released to worshippers and visitors to the sacred forest. Segun Laole visited the sacred forest in Osogbo ahead of this year's festival. Segun, let's hear from you.
Every August is a time for the celebration of traditional and cultural fiesta, widely known as Osun Osogbo Festival. The festival, which has achieved an international standard, is heralded by a series of traditional rites and beautiful cultural displays within and outside the grove.
This is Osun Osogbo Sacred Grove, one of the surviving forests in southwest Nigeria. History has it that over 200 medicinal plants can be found in this forest. Apart from that, you have a number of species of monkeys surrounding the forest.
The Sacred Grove plays host to the annual procession led by the Atauja of Osogbo in company of his kingmakers, other chiefs and Osun worshippers at a colorful ceremony to end the week-long festival where they pray to the goddess of the river whom they believe is their source of protection and development to date.
It's very, very important, and it has been mandatory that His Royal Majesty, the first Atauja of Osogbo Balare, must celebrate the festival every year, so that there will be peace and tranquility within the city of Osogbo. It's not a mere tradition.
Osun is a goddess of fertility and fecundity, and the barren women, they do come to request from her, and one will make the pledge, and with that she'll be able to give the blessing of fertility for the barren woman.
Although the grove has since been inscribed as World Heritage Site by UNESCO in 2005, devotees still hold the belief that the grove is home to many spirits. Consequently, hunting expedition is prohibited in the forest, same as the Osun River is preserved by offering sacrifice to the goddess known for fertility.
In a few days' time, the grove will come alive again for the annual Osun Osogbo Festival, where people from within and outside the country will gather, including devotees, to pay homage and give sacrifice to the goddess of the river.
Segun Lawole, NTA News.
Thank you, Segun, for that report. Now, Indian authorities have indicated a willingness to return Ibrahim El-Zakzaky to Nigeria following his antics, unruly and uncompromising attitude since he arrived in the country for medical treatment. The Indian authorities, apart from his refusal to be admitted to the hospital for treatment as is indicated on his visa, he has, among other unacceptable demands, insisted on checking in a five-star hotel, receiving of unrestricted number of visitors and movement, choosing doctors of his choice to check him, and the return of his international passport and withdrawal of police protection. The Indian government therefore says it will not allow El-Zakzaky use the country to internationalize his group's activity, while commending the state of the Indian government on the issue. Nigeria has apologized to India for the unruly behavior of El-Zakzaky and reaffirmed its readiness to undertake the prosecution of El-Zakzaky through due process if and when he is returned to the country. The statement by the Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Information and Culture, Grace Isu, asked the public to know that El-Zakzaky cry that he is being held in circumstances worse than he was in. Nigeria should be disregarded. Now, a World Health Organization declares Ebola outbreak a public health emergency following its resurgence in Democratic Republic of Congo. What precautionary effort has Nigeria taken? Details after the break.
You know, from day one, Globe makes life easier. They brought us per second billing, unbelievable data packages, and even an optic fiber cable to make sure we optimize. There are two things in our lives we depend on: the communication and information, voice and data. Whether you sell, buy, learn, teach, serve, or lead, it really comes down to those two things: voice or data. Today's world is all about you. You want what you want, how you want it, and Glow delivers. The freedom to use voice and data the way you like on every recharge. Easy.
Glow Yakata, the heavyweight voice and data plan. Recharge from 100 Naira and get a minimum 500 Naira to call all networks, plus up to 6 gigabytes of data to browse, chit-chat, WhatsApp and more. Dial *230# or buy your Glow SIM. Glow Unlimited.
Welcome to the National Agricultural Extension and Research Liaison Services Farmers Helpline.
Have you heard? There's a center to cater for all the needs of farmers and farming businesses in Nigeria. An information center with the sole objective of helping the farmers to increase agricultural productivity and profit. It is a place with the best crop of scientists and extension workers in the country.
Thank you for calling National Farmers Helpline.
This center is the federal government strategy to empower farmers with quality information, and it is located at the National Agricultural Extension and Research Liaison Services, Zaria. Call National Farmers Helpline today on 081-3989-0090 from Mondays to Fridays between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. The National Farmers Helpline Center, the solution center for Nigerian agriculture.
The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, invites all ministers delegate, head of the Civil Service of the Federation, federal permanent secretaries and top government functionaries specifically invited to a 2-day induction retreat to be presided over by His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Tour the retreat earlier publicized has been rescheduled as follows. Date Monday 19th to Tuesday 20th August 2019. Time 9 a.m. daily. Venue State House Conference Center, Presidential Villa, Abuja. The objectives of the retreat include to build a strong platform for synergy and teamwork, to sensitize appointees on the status of implementation of policies, programs, and projects of the government from 2015 to date. Acquaint the appointees on the roadmap for delivery of government priorities and next-level agenda. Deepen the understanding of participants and best practices in conducting government business. The swearing-in of all ministers delegate by the President shall hold as follows. Date Wednesday, 21st August 2019. Time 11 a.m. Venue Federal Executive Council Chambers, Presidential Villa, Abuja. Attendance at both events is mandatory and strictly by invitation. Announcer Babatunde Lawal, Permanent Secretary, Cabinet Affairs Office, Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Why keep mixing things when you can have all in one? New Mr. Muscle All-Purpose Cleaner. Have the cleaning power, so you can easily dance right through a variety of tough messes like spills and stains, grease and soap scum, and get back to the things you love. New Mr. Muscle All-Purpose Cleaner. Get your power in one. SC Johnson, a family company.
Bayes University is a fully licensed university operating since 2011 and has grown to have 32 accredited programs in 6 faculties. This includes computer and applied sciences, management and social sciences, engineering, environmental sciences, law, and basic medical sciences. The university also offers postgraduate programs and foundation courses in a conducive learning environment with modern teaching facilities and high-quality national and international staff. Bayes University graduates have either progressed into respectable career positions or have obtained postgraduate degrees from different parts of the world with distinctions. Call or visit www.bayesuniversity.edu.ng. Bayes University, Abuja. Learn to live.
Ebonyi State Government, in partnership with World Bank under the Better Education Service Delivery for All BESTA, is offering scholarship to all out-of-school children of ages 5 to 15, primary and secondary basic education level. Consequently, the state government invites all parents and guardians whose children and wards are out of school, including those who are maids and domestic helps, to, as a matter of urgency, return to the state and be part of the scholarship scheme. Please note, defaulters to this directive will be severely punished according to the law. Also, the government invites stakeholders and the public to the launch of BESTA program slated as follows. Date 19th August 2019. Time 12 noon. Venue Executive Chamber, Government House at Bakaliki. For more information, call 0803-825-4177, 0803-6224-111, or 0803-890-0806, or email ssgebonyistate@gmail.com, or visit www.ebonyi.gov.ng. Signed, Mbazu Shulamite Nenna, BESTA focal person, Subeb.
To the outer framers, the hat tippers, the turtleneckers, the fringe goers, you don't need to hide anymore. Try Dettol Even Tone. It cleans and helps to reduce the appearance of blemishes caused by oil, dirt and germs, giving your skin a healthy feel for an even better you. Dettol, be 100% sure.
Welcome to the highlight.
For updates in the global and Nigeria oil and gas sector, always tune in to NTA International, NTA 24 and NTA Network every Sunday by 8 p.m. for Oil and Gas Forum, a program by the Group Public Affairs Division of the NNPC to educate and inform you on the ever-evolving dynamics in the petroleum industry.
NNPC, we touch your lives in many positive ways.
Good to have you back on News Extra. The Nigerian prison is now to be known and addressed as Nigerian Correctional Service. This is sequel to the signing into law of the bill seeking to amend the act that establishes the Nigerian Prison Service by President Muhammadu Buhari, as amended by the Senate, tagged Nigerian Correctional Service Act 2019. State House correspondent Jide Onifade reports.
Senior Special Assistant to the President on National Assembly Matters in the Senate, Ita Enang, briefs the press on these two acts.
The Correctional Services Act repeals the Nigeria Prison Service, changes the name of Nigeria Prison Service to Nigeria Correctional Service.
As he explains, there are two main faculties of the Correctional Service, namely custodial service and non-custodial service.
The non-custodial service is intended for reformation. Persons do not stay in custody. You allow for mediation, conciliation, community service as punishment as will be ordered by the court. The custody service is to take control of persons legally interned in safe, secure, and humane conditions, is to convey persons who have been sentenced to prison to prison. Then the prison service is to, while you are there, identify causes why the person may have committed the offense and take steps at reformation.
Apart from the generous correctional measures provided by the Act, an inmate who is on death row could have his sentence commuted to a life imprisonment. That is, if he has spent 10 years without the sentence be implemented. The second act assented to by the President is the Federal Universities of Agriculture Amendment No. 2, Act 2019. The Act amends the Federal Universities of Agriculture Act to change the name of the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi in Benue State, to Joseph Taka University. In the State House, Jide Onifade, NJ News.
Meanwhile, the need for a clearly defined constitutional role for deputy governors has been re-echoed as guests on Good Morning Nigeria deliberated on impeachment of deputy governors. You know, Kogi State is at it right now. The consensus is that only a constitutional amendment will put an end to what the guests call reckless use of the impeachment alternative. Lydia Sampson has the report.
During electioneering campaigns, governors and their deputies work as a team to win elections. But when in office, the power play begins. Personal differences that may have been resolved through dialogue escalate, and in many cases, impeachment is used as an option to discard the deputy. Gaston Good Morning Nigeria of the view that disagreements can be nipped in the bud through statesmanship and mutual respect.
Collaboration is important in governance between the legislature and the executive. But over cooperation or being subservient to the point where you impede on the human rights and the authority of the other person in order to press that person, just because you have the fund, just because as a stakeholder it will benefit you personally and not looking at the general and public good, is what we are against.
Almost all our governors now were not really elected. It is because of the cloud of Buhari that they were brought in and said they were elected. Why don't they now copy the Buhari style? Buhari has never quarreled with Osinbajo.
The guys noted that most times the allegations are trivial and do not warrant the prolonged process of impeachment, which does not augur well for the development of states.
The deputy governor must recognize the fact that the governor is in charge. But more importantly, the governor, as one of the speakers in your studio has emphasized, must demonstrate statesmanship, because it's easier for you to solve a problem when you are at the helm of affairs than for those who are working with you to be able to assert themselves. So if the governors can bend over backwards to accommodate the deputy governor and make meaning out of that office, then our democracy will benefit.
I think it's a matter of understanding and dialogue. The governors and their deputies and everyone, they are not beyond dialogue. Coming to the table to discuss things, iron out things, to make provisions for the things that need to be done.
We have heaped the entire problem on the shoulders of governors. Yeah, it is true, but not in all cases. For the issue discussed now is Kogi State. Kogi State has been managed until recently, when the deputy governor came on air to make statement. The crisis just did not start just 1 week, 1 month, 2 months ago.
The guys say, well, it is human to err and have misunderstanding. The political terrain can best be harnessed with amicable resolutions as well as mutual respect, with governors and their deputies working together as partners in progress. In Abuja, Lydia Sampson, NTA News.
In the latest development, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, has arraigned Abdullahi Babalili and Uyekben Giwa Osage, both associates of a former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, before Justice Nicholas Owegbu of the Federal High Court, Lagos. They were charged for money laundering to the tune of $140,000 and $2 million, respectively. Abolore Ogbara has the report.
The EFCC had filed a 3-count charge against a legal practitioner, Uyekwe Giwa Osage, for allegedly laundering $2 million meant for 2019 general election. Atiku's son-in-law, Abdullahi Babalili, was also arraigned before Justice Nicholas Owegbu on a 2-count charge with a sum of $140,000. The duo pleaded not guilty of all the allegations. The defense counsels, Ahmed Raji SAN and Mike Ozekome SAN, asked the court to grant them bail on the ground of self-recognizance and on liberal terms. The prosecution counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, on the other hand, said he got the information on the bail application late and requested for more time to file the counter affidavit on the case. The defense counsel, Ahmed Raji SAN, said since the case is a bailable offense, the court should grant the bail applications.
If at the end of the day, they're just going to be fined, why do you have to imprison them from now on? And they are not accusing them of stealing money. It's just mere infraction of financial regulations.
We have informed the court that we have our facts that we want to depose to in counter affidavit, so in opposition to the application for bail. But the discretion whether or not to grant is within my lord.
Abdullahi Babalili was arrested by the EFCC in February this year on allegation of vote buying and placed on administrative bail while investigations continue. Justice Owegbu, however, gave a ruling on adjournment of motion for bail and hearing for the 15th of August in Lagos. Abolore Ogbara, NT News.
The initial management and stabilization of a patient in a hospital is a specialty that calls for emergency physicians to take ownership in the emergency room. Joy Osiago had a chat with Dr. Moturayo Aditola, a Nigerian-Canadian physician who is raising an army of emergency room doctors to turn around the emergency departments in Nigerian hospitals.
Dr. Moturayo Aditola is the immediate past president of the Canadian Association of Nigerian Physicians and Dentists, CAMPAD. Many of his colleagues visited Nigeria several times during his tenure to support their medical colleagues in Nigeria. The most recent was the 59th Nigerian Medical Association's annual general conference in Abakaliki, Ebonyi State in April this year.
We went home with 5 of our colleagues from here to make presentations on topics which included colon cancer screening, medical education, as well as emergency medicine as a specialty, because unfortunately in Nigeria, we still don't have emergency medicine as a specialty. Doctors are recruited to just go and work in the accident and emergency without the training, and that's not just in the small hospital, even in all the teaching hospitals across Nigeria.
Dr. Olumuyiwa Odushote, the Secretary General of the Nigerian Medical Association, corroborates Adetola's narrative.
People are very happy to have them, and the lectures were stimulating, and then they had hands-on, they came with some mannequins to demonstrate the act of emergency medicine and resuscitation.
We went with the aim of helping to sensitize Nigerian doctors, and also with the aim that if they would want us to, we will actually help in setting up training.
In Kelowna, British Columbia, Canada, Joy Usiago, NTA News.
That's a good one, I must say, Joy. Now, following the resurgence of the Ebola virus disease in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the World Health Organization, WHO, has declared the outbreak a public health emergency in line with international health regulations. Consequently, the Nigerian Civil Aviation Authority, NCAA, has directed all airline operators, especially airlines operating regional and international flights into the country, to exercise high level of vigilance. The NCAA Director General Mukhtar Usman, in a statement, also directs all airline pilots to report to air traffic controllers and any suspected case of communicable disease on board their flights for port health services to verify and handle. And with the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Nigeria is now exploring possibilities to ensure that Nigerians in the diaspora participate actively in the development of the country. Just recently, the Nigerian ambassador to the Republic of Benin, while flagging off the National Identification Number Enrollment Program in Cotonou, Benin Republic. Musa Toliet was there and brings us details.
Benin Republic is home to more than 3 million Nigerians. Out of this figure, about 39 are serving various jail terms, including those awaiting trials. The flag-off of the National Identification Number Enrollment Program informed the visit of the Nigerian ambassador to Benin Republic, Kayode Oguntuashi, accompanied by the chairman and chief executive officer, Nigerian Diaspora Commission, Abike Dabiri Erewa, to prison civil in Cotonou.
Now that we have known about it, the embassy will follow it up, we will get them out and ensure that only those who have been found to be committed one crime or the other are found in the detention center here.
Why we tell them avoid crime and criminality is also our responsibility as directed by Mr. President, that if you don't have to be here, we have to get you out of here.
Having ascertained the status of those in incarceration, it was time for Ambassador Oguntuashi to meet with free Nigerians with a view to encouraging them to key into the National Identification Number Enrollment Program.
We are counting on you to support the government of Nigeria in this project by encouraging every Nigerian under your jurisdiction to enroll for their national identification number.
Seamless registration of business at the Corporate Affairs Commission, issuance and renewal of international passport with ease in country of residence, as well as identification at immigration border posts in any part of the world are some of the benefits highlighted by stakeholders at the event.
It's a good start and a good move, of which at the end of the day is going to be successful.
Now, it is expected that Nigerians living in Benin Republic will avail themselves the opportunity to be counted among worthy ambassadors of the country in the diaspora. In Cotonou, Benin Republic, I am Musa Toliat, NTA News.
Thank you very much, Musa Tolet, for that. And during the Eid al-Kabir, usually known as the festival of sacrifice, a lot of rams and other animals are slaughtered. Now, what happens to the hides and skin? After the break, you will find out.
Follow! Kitty. He doesn't want overripe things. Dudu by nature. Black is beautiful. Oh, talk to the hand. The baby is black. Ask her. Uche, quickly send me the baby video.
Okay, ma.
Yeah, he's playing. Oh my goodness. He's loving it. Oh, thank you. You're welcome. Bye.
Data is oxygen. Glow 4G, the new speed of life. Your #1 4G network nationwide. The very best from Glow, the grandmasters of data.
We deserve more girls. Nolly cash. Nolly cash. Nolly cash. We need a big change in our lives. Do you think this is it, girls? No, irritation. No. We need a revolution.
Skin-friendly new moped, which will change your life, is now in Nigeria. With its nylon-free surface, new moped has unique softness and up to 100% protection. Your skin will love it.
Microfinance.
Are you the managing director of Keke?
Yes, sir. And this is my official right. I get 20 waiting for street waiting the Hughes hostel. Bring return for me.
Now how you attack your makeup?
Na microfinance bank.
Now who you are getting for the way at the give local connection?
You no need connection, you no need man, no man. You just need to work a code bank, open an account. After you don't save, you apply for loan, then go give you.
Oh, but the interest no go keep person. And my money no go enter voicemail.
Don't worry about that. Just follow me, let me show you how they make the money.
Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, don't they clean up all microfinance bank them to make sure say they CBN licensed and NDIC insured. So your money they safe, no shaking. This message now from the Central Bank of Nigeria, driving growth to make life better.
Yeah. Igboro na sharp guy. Igboro na wise guy. Igboro they code everybody. Igboro they feel funky. Igboro na smart guy. Anywhere he they go, he they shine eye. Igboro no they slago. Igboro is very connected. Igboro they judge everybody, and they know they trust anybody. Igboro they look everybody like say them is suspect. Nobody wanna trust nobody, but everybody.
Don't be like him. Free your mind with Airtel Smart Talk and enjoy calls to all networks at a flat rate of 11 kobo per second. 7 naira fee on the first call of the day applies. Dial *315# to join.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
My tasty jollof queen.
#1 jollof chef.
When you start like this, I know it's jollof you want.
I know you're tired, dear, but please.
My husband deserves the best jollof. Yay! And so do my kids.
Yeah, Mom.
Not necessary, dear. I have all the pepper, onion, thyme, curry powder, garlic, ginger, and tomatoes I need in here. Welcome to the new way of making tasty jollof with no stress at all. All I do is pour my oil, add Tasty Tom jollof mix, fry for 4 minutes, and add water, some salt and seasoning, and finally rice. And my tasty jollof is ready in only 45 minutes.
So tasty. And for my jollof queen.
Tasty Tom Jollof Mix. No stress.
More jollof.
New Tasty Tom Jollof Mix.
Celebrating something? Won't have it any other way. Moments will feel joy. Been lost in the moment, the freedom. You will find that's what's celebrating. Bring your moment to life. Find your satisfaction in the nourishing, trendy, sparkling Valletta.
Valletta sparkling fruit drink. Celebrate every moment.
Welcome back. And it's time for us to join Abolade Salami live in Lagos for business news. Abolade, how are you today? It's over to you.
And Fatima, good evening and welcome to Lagos. The directive by President Muhammadu Buhari on the Central Bank of Nigeria to stop providing foreign exchange for food importation will serve as catalyst for growth on domestic agricultural value chain, as well as preserve forex. Economic analyst Boniface Chesel, while reacting to the directive, said, henceforth, the huge amount of money used in importing food items will be saved for development of other key sectors.
That it historically, it's either going back to say 2015, the amount of money we spent on importation of food items was humongous. And this is a country with very good climate, vast, arable land, and then why should we, be importing? So at times you need to come with some policies that would whip us back in line, bring us back to our senses, wake us from sleep. We can't go on like that. We can't go on with all the things we have. If we have to import the food we eat, then we're having trouble. So what then can we export? So we have to manage. You have to manage. Have to manage the foreign exchange. I think that's a welcome development, and I would expect that we should expect more of that. And going into the future.
The diversification drive of the federal government, he added, has contributed immensely to the country's self-sufficiency in rice production. And now let's see what's happening in oil markets globally. Oil prices were down more than 4% after global demand fears were revived by weak economic data from China and Europe. Brent crude was down $2.59 to $58.71 a barrel, while the global benchmark rose $4.70 on Tuesday, with U.S. Texas Intermediate crude futures down $2.68 to $54.42 a barrel. And let's cross over to the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. The Nigerian equities market resumed trading activities on a bearish note, depreciating by 0.82%. Here are details of midweek trading.
Market activities on Broad Street began in a negative note after 2 days of public holiday, as the markets dipped by 0.82% to close the all-share index at 27,083.11 basis points. Volume of shares traded stood at 235 million, valued at 3.29 billion naira, which changed hands in 3,922 deals, with a market capitalization of 13.1 trillion naira. On the activity chart, Custodian, Afroprud, and Continental closed in a positive territory, while on the flip side, Total, MTN Nigeria, and Flour Mill declined in figures. Meanwhile, on the sectoral performance, all major key sectors finished in the red line, except for the insurance sector that hinged up slightly by 0.45%, while NSE banking, consumer goods, industrial, and oil and gas finished in the red, depreciating by 1.26%, 0.46%, 1.55%, and 1.12%.
And that does it on business news. It's back to Fatima in Abuja for the continuation of the news. Good evening.
Oh, thank you very much, Abolade. 78 years ago, the Umuahia Main Market was established as a colonial trading post by the British, and it remained a beehive until October 2013, when the Abia state government demolished it for expansion purposes and beautification of the state capital. The neighboring Imo state government quickly constructed what it called a rescue market to accommodate Imo traders displaced by the policy at a border community between Imo and Abia State. This market became known as Malaysia Market. Dennis Temple will tell us more about this border market at the banks of the Imo River.
This is the Onu Imo Rescue Market in local government area of Imo State. It is popularly known as Malaysia Market. The market is well known for general goods and industrial materials such as building materials and motor spare parts. Located at the bank of Imo River, the boundary between Abia and Imo States, the market has about 3,500 shops. It dates back to 2013 when Imo traders in Umuahia Main Market, Abia State, were displaced due to the then Abia State government's beautification policy that affected the Easy Gate, Umuahia City Center. That policy led to the migration of traders to this new market. The Malaysian market has become a rallying point for traders and buyers from the two states and beyond.
They are for sure from Umuahia. As I am here, I am relaxed. If I sell, I will have. If I not, I know that tomorrow I will sell.
For past 2 years, the market is going on well. Malaysian market derives its name from the fact that most of the original shop owners were Nigerian Igbo businessmen who were based in Malaysia but returned to set up businesses back home.
They see this place as the new Malaysia in Nigeria. So they term the market Malaysia Market because things were going well with our brothers there in Malaysia. So in order for us to join suit and enjoy whatever they are enjoying there, we term this place Malaysia.
As a result of the urgent need to relocate the traders back then, a number of infrastructural facilities like good drainage network and access roads were not put in place before the movement. Today, the traders are crying out, not just because of the erosion which is eating up portions of the land, but also because of the perennial flooding from the Imo River, which overflows its banks during the rainy season.
We lost over 200 million naira here, both here and the other side of the market.
The traders are seeking urgent government intervention to address these issues of infrastructure and flooding so that the aim of migrating to the Malaysia market will be realized. From the border market at Onimo, Dennis Temple, NTN News.
And there was the saying coined and popularized by the NPN those days that when it's the season of corn, you talk about corn. We are still in the spirit of Salah, so let's go there. When you talk of Eid al-Kabir, you are talking about the sacrificial animal that Muslims slaughter as act of worship. This explains why hides and skin business booms during the period. Musa Baba Ali reports that over 5 million skins are ready for processing and export from just 5 states of Kano, Kaduna, Niger, Sokoto, and Plateau.
Hides and skin business is always at its peak during Eid al-Kabir celebration, considering the number of animals that are being slaughtered for the festival. For instance, at this center located in Kwanandala, Nasarawa local government area of Kano State, more than 1 million skin have been gathered. Close to 500 youth are working at the center, cleaning and applying salt on the skin to protect it from getting rotten.
So many people, they get employed here. Every day, you roll many casual people here getting to 100 people.
Muhammad Bashir Dankullu is the man in charge of the center. He said his target is to get 2 million skin.
Anywhere in the world, like Italian, Indian, Portugal, they need Nigerian products. They need goods, especially Nigerian products. But now, when you saw the good, especially for us, I'm dealer, and sometimes I can export, sell it outside. But I don't have a tannery. Means I don't have a factory. But I can list some other training which cannot talk now.
Investigations reveal that Almost all the animal skin gathered during Salah will find their way to Kano. About 5 million are expected from Katsina, Jigawa, Sokoto, Plateau and Niger states. Kano used to be the home of hides and skin. In fact, the first Nigerian hides and skin export took place here in Kano. That was more than 40 years ago when Kano was housing dozens of leather industries.
After Salah too, you have people that are eating meat, so you are getting it regularly. We don't have a shortage of raw material. We export across the world, all over the world.
And this is among the very few tanneries that are working today at full capacity.
Nigerian leather has always been in demand because Nigerian leather, you will find out that we have the best quality leather in the world. I think the only country that has similar quality of leather with us, similar, not suede. Suede we have the best. But when you come to sheepskins, maybe Australia a little bit, but not like us.
It's not all the skin that will go through the modern method of tanning. Many will end up here where they will be processed manually. From Kano, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
And for those who are frequent visitors to markets, especially in rural areas, will appreciate this next story better. It is a practice among sellers of food and other consumables to leave what they sell open to dust and other unhealthy elements. This is what attracted the curiosity of NTA Dutse correspondent Mohammed Musa Askura to look at the safety of consumers of such foods. Over to you, Askura. Let's hear from you.
Health statistics have shown that more than 200,000 persons die in Nigeria every year of food poisoning caused by contamination during processing, preservation and serving of those foods to consumers who come to patronize the vendors. In an environment where airborne diseases are common, selling of food items exposed without cover could serve as open invitation to such diseases. Governments at all levels have been spending public money on buying drugs to treat patients of diseases that could have been prevented through ensuring proper hygiene of environment and consumables. It is common sight in most Nigerian rural markets selling of edible items in the open. Medical research indicates that most minor diseases people are suffering from these days are as a result of the intake of contaminated food and drinks.
People who sell foods and foodstuff should ensure that proper hygiene is instituted when handling food. But also, eateries and restaurants need to put in place measures that will ensure that our food is not contaminated.
In those days, environmental sanitation officers were engaged by the government to ensure that environment is kept clean and foods sold to the public are healthy and fit for consumption. It is hoped that the government will act to stem the tide of the menace. After all, prevention, they say, is better than cure. Mohammed Musa Askira, NTA News.
In the meantime, Borno State government has restated its commitment towards providing security to farmers or their farmlands so as to improve agricultural production. The state governor, Professor Babagana Umar Zulum, stated this while inaugurating officers and men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps alongside members of civilian JTF, hunters and vigilantes as agro rangers. Jesse Tafida has more on the report.
Agro Rangers are specialized operational squad saddled with responsibility of providing security to farmers on their farmland and generally protect agricultural sector investment across the state. Inaugurating the first batch of the Agro Rangers, consisting of men of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, civilian JTF, vigilante and hunters, Governor Babagana Umar Zulum charged them to be committed and faithful in discharging their duties. Borno State government, he says, will also improve other areas of human capacity and provide all necessary logistic support as well as communication gadgets for effective operations.
We will not be frightened and we will not fear any threat. This will rather increase our commitment and resilience until we emerge victorious, inshallah.
Deputy Commandant General, Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, Augustine Ibikwe, who represented the Commandant General, lauded efforts of Borno State Governor in uplifting the security sector in the state. He noted that The Agro Rangers are well trained to destroy, capture enemy facilities and will deliver maximally. On his part, Borno State Commandant of the NSCDC, Abdullahi Ibrahim, disclosed that the 75 Agro Rangers squad alongside 120 civilian JTF, hunters and vigilante will be restricted to Maiduguri and its environs, while plans are underway to replicate the deployment to liberated local government areas in the state. In Maiduguri, Jesse Tafida, NTA News.
The Juju maestro Fela Anikulapo Kuti once sang that water has no enemy. I'm sure you know the import of that. The same thing can be said of fire. If you treat it carefully, you will enjoy it. If you mistreat it, it will burn you. Now, I don't know how traders at the spare parts market in Welu, Benin City, handled it, but they are counting their losses following a fire outbreak in the early hours of Tuesday. Ado Beji or Jegba reports that property and wares worth billions of naira have gone up in flames and lost in the inferno.
What triggered the fire incident could not be ascertained by the victims. Some of the traders attributed the delay in putting out the fire to the deplorable condition of the road, which affected the arrival of firefighting officers to the scene in record time. They lamented the loss of goods and other property running into billions of naira.
The first one, that one finish university, no get job. Before I can't let this pass. As he just new start, so now they burn the shop for their hand. That guy think, go make government come help there. Open not feel remain for street like this.
We all are feel bad. We don't know where to start now. For the first month, we don't know where to start.
A big huge amount of something inside this store.
Uwelu Market is the center of automobile trade in Benin. Adogbeji Ojegba, NTA News.
I'm sorry about that. It's good news for public servants, but this time it is not increase in salary, but one of the basic needs of life. What is that? That is what we shall tell you when we return. Please stay with us.
They are there at the crack of dawn. They are there busy preparing while we rise for our day. They are there silently, guarding, waiting, listening, and watching. They are there ready in the sky above and the waters below, in the blistering heat of the day, in the dead of night, willing, indefatigable, determined in the defense of the sovereignty of our country. They are our first line of defense and our last. They who have paid the ultimate price in defending us. They are fathers and uncles. They are mothers and sisters and girlfriends and boyfriends. They are brothers and cousins and best friends and neighbors. They are classmates, colleagues, and citizens of this nation. They are our defenders and deserve our respect, our prayers, our thoughts. Nigeria, please support our armed forces.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous. Whether you do it for fun or for political gains, real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
You can follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook at NTA Network News, Instagram at NTA Network, Twitter at NTA News Now, YouTube at NTA News Online. Or visit www.nta.ng. For live streaming, visit www.nta.ng/live. Now, you can stay updated on the go, be it on your TV, iPhone, laptop, or iPad, or download the NTA mobile application from your Play Store or App Store. NTA, you can beat the rich.
Welcome back. before we went on a break, we saw what fire can do. Well, its patriot water, as innocent as it appears, can do worse, as the people in Yobe are finding out. 2 people have lost their lives, with some sustaining injuries as a result of flood that wreaked havoc on Jigawa community in Potiskum town of Yobe State after a late-night deluge. Aisha Mohammed Saleh says the ensuing flood waters also destroyed many houses, farmlands and the graveyard in the area.
It was a very sad day for residents of Jigawa area and Potiskum local government of Yobe State, who woke up to a flood disaster after a heavy downpour that led to many losses. The flood left 1 person dead, many others injured. There was also a missing person believed to have been swept away by the flood waters. Some buildings along the pathway of the flood water also collapsed. The mother of the missing child, Adama Zakari, said she is yet to come to terms with the calamity that befell her family and her missing son, Abubakar Saidu.
My son, Abubakar, was sent to an errand when the flood swept him away.
Some of the affected persons attributed their plight to the construction of a bypass, which they claimed blocked waterways, hence forcing the water to recede.
Rainy season usually comes with flood to the area. We really need help. Government should urgently come to our aid. We just woke up in the morning and found ourselves submerged in water, which destroyed our property.
Aisha Muhammad Sali reports that the raging flood waters has wreaked havoc on many homes, farmlands and graveyards in the area.
That is very, very unfortunate. Still on a sad note, a nursing mother and her 3-month-old baby are still missing following a boat mishap at Irewe Creek, Lagos. Industries and regulators attribute overspeeding by the boat drivers as the cause of the accident. Paul Omukago tells us more.
Overspeeding, night sailing, overloading, and non-compliance to safety rules were identified as major causes of boat mishaps in Lagos. The Irewe Creek boat mishap, with 3 dead bodies recovered and 2 still missing, is the 3rd this year. For these people of Irewe community, the Salah celebration ended on a sad note as victims of the accident were their guests.
Babatunde, can you tell us what actually happened?
So it was around 6 o'clock in the evening. So a boat conveying 8 passengers from Irewe down to Ojo. So one from Ojo, he took 10 passengers to Irewe. So on their way, so they collided.
Immediately after the incident, the operators are going up and down, informing the last why the authority, the marine police. Immediately after that, they were able to recover somebody.
With different permutations on the cause of accident, what is the industry doing to stem the tide?
These local drivers, we must find a way of training them because we are trying to make them not drive and it is almost impossible. So I think the best thing we want to do now is to train them locally. We want to train them in different languages.
The boat drivers who survived the mishap are being held by marine police for further questioning.
Just like these passengers who are on board this boat, that was how it was for those who left this particular jetty
from Ojo to Irewe. Unfortunately, only 6 from that boat came back alive. In Lagos, Paul Omukago, NTA News.
From the traditional to infrastructure, you know how we Nigerians love to travel, especially during festive periods. Now, Kano already has a huge population, and we know the major concern of motorists and commuters while on Kano metropolitan roads is traffic gridlock, especially along entry points. This is mostly due to increase in population and the number of people visiting the city on daily basis. It is in view of this concern that the state government has embarked on the provision of additional infrastructure in strategic locations across the city. Abdullahi Mustafa visited one of the sites and puts together this report.
Zaria Road is one of the ever-busy streets of Kano metropolis. It is the main entrance to the city for people and goods coming from north, central and southern part of Nigeria. Zaria Road also connects some densely populated areas in the southwest and southeastern parts of the city. The traffic congestion in this axis informs Kano State Government's decision to build a 3-in-1 interchange at the Dengi junction of the road.
This 3-in-1 mega project consists of underpass, overpass and flyover, and was awarded by Kano State Government 14 months ago, and at present it reaches 90% completion stage, and part of it has already been put to use.
With the partial opening of the facility, there is now free flow of vehicular traffic.
The road is excellent. I've been to so many countries in the world. It's precisely the same that we've seen overseas. So I wish to congratulate the governor.
When you will find your way at the roundabout, you go.
Before now, there is hold on. Now there is not there.
It is expected that the remaining work on the mega infrastructure will be completed before the end of third quarter of this year.
The contractor is on site day and night, and government has given all the necessary resources to see to its completion in the very near future.
Road users plying the road are not only happy with this development, but are also looking forward to more of it in all parts of the state. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
It is a known fact that apart from being one of the items that absorb a large portion of workers' income, housing plays a major role in the social, political and economic discourse of most societies. Housing has been known to be a major component of creating stable and healthy communities. It is against this backdrop that the Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board and the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria is strengthening the ties between them towards the provision of affordable housing for public servants in Nigeria. Adebola Brooklyn Sunday has the report.
For Florence Adewale, a civil servant, the negative attitude of her landlord became a motivational factor for her to own her home through a housing cooperative system.
From Kefi to Abuja every day is not always easy, it's stressful, but at least we are comfortable that nobody is sending us text message or flashing us that our house rent has expired.
Kingsley David is still living in a rented apartment. He cannot wait to have a house of his own.
Housing in Abuja is something else. A lot of civil servants save from January to December just to pay only rent. What about other necessities?
The Nigerian government year on year have been putting in place modalities to meet the housing needs of the citizenry, which statistics say is about 17 million in deficits. Led by the Executive Secretary, Hannatu Fika, top management staff of the Federal Government Staff Housing Loans Board are in the Federal Mortgage Bank of Nigeria to boost the synergy between the two sister agencies of government in the housing sector.
We are aware of the challenges that public servants go through when December comes. Public servant has nothing in his pockets, and then the landlords come calling.
Recapitalization of the housing sector and using affordable housing as a motivational tool are some of the talking points at the meeting.
Creation of mortgages, you have to pay equity of 10%. You have to pay a lot of other charges. With the rent to own, you just go in as a tenant and then start paying rent either monthly or quarterly or even annually. And that becomes your payment of the house.
So having a house is tied to motivation, is tied to job satisfaction.
This partnership is expected to meet the housing need of Florence Adewale, Kingsley David and their likes, and at the same time enable them to contribute more to national development. Adebola, Brooklyn Sunday, NTA News.
Oh, this is sure good news to public servants. Now, when News Extra returns, we shall bring you sports and the weather outlook for tomorrow. Don't go away.